Welcome to Juicebox. I'm Bambi Francisco. This is a special edition of VaderBox here at the Juice Pitcher event hosted by Vader TV and The Funded. One company was chosen to present, and it was chosen and voted by the audience here. That company was Thumbtack.
So once again, my name is Marco Zappacosta, and I'm here with Thumbtack.com. Thumbtack is building an online marketplace for local services to change the way you find and book services. Right now, you can go online and buy any product you can think of, but you can't do the same for services. I'm sure many of you had the experience that it's incredibly difficult to find a local, trustworthy, and available provider to come and do the jobs that you need done. Thumbtack addresses this problem by creating a two-sided marketplace where providers put up their profiles with availability and consumers can find them and book them. Now, to get over the chicken and the egg problem, what we're doing is giving away small business software like appointment management and CRM and marketing tools and marketing products that we can buy at scale and resell to them, giving them a place to come independent of the value of the marketplace as a whole. And this way they spend their time and effort to acquire their customers that they know better than we do anyway. Ultimately, the revenue model is transactional. We would like to facilitate the buying and selling of services, and we will make money from that flow.
Okay, that was actually good. That was 1 minute.
I can keep going.
No, that's okay. So let's start with the pitch, his 90-second pitch, well, 60-second pitch actually. So let's start with Ezra.
I think the pitch was good. I think it addressed most of the main concerns folks would have. I think that there needs to be a little more discussion of how you create the traffic and the volume and where the revenue is going to come from, because this is one that needs a lot of scale. Hey, Dale, all right.
That's why I love Ezra, man. He's pretty poignant with his. So you do have a chicken and egg, and as they always say, when you have a chicken and egg, talk about the chicken and egg, because everyone's going to be like, well, how do you solve the chicken and egg? Not so good. Giving away free CRM software and like relationship, like here, act for you, free. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, so you know that Red Beacon won TC50, so they're probably your direct competitor. That guy got on stage and was like, boom, we solved the chicken and egg because we have wizards. Wizards are humans. They pick up the phone and they call people. So when demand is there, we fill supply with a wizard. Your chicken and egg response was not as good. So,
but I mean, I think, sorry, what's the next category? We're Paul Bandy's.
No, that's okay. I actually thought he was very poised, and I thought it was, and maybe I'm a little bit biased here because I tested out his system. So I tested out his service, and I actually did find a piano teacher, so I'm a little bit biased. I think it actually works. And I said, I did a great job.
I think at the same time, though, if you look at, when the competition was the next thing, but, more like comparables, because I think competition at this stage is comparables. It's not about
It's actually novelty and innovation.
Yeah,
so let's go with novelty and innovation.
Okay, we'll get to that. I think the reality is if you're looking at the comparables and you work backwards to the novelty. Merchant Circle is a great company that's done marketing services. There's a lot of online marketing companies. Google is a small business marketing firm, if you think about it. So I think the market there for people who need to market their wares but are essentially small companies that don't have the resources or the inclination. If I'm a piano teacher, the last thing I want to do is get online and figure out AdWords. So I think that there are lots of ways that you can create essentially a place and a venue for outsourcing that marketing. I think that's novel.
I thought his UI was awesome.
The UI is great.
I honestly, like, you had me on your UI and then you started talking and it
Had me at hello. You had me at hello.
I think, if I recall correctly, I was like, my mouth was like, and then you're like, started talking, and I looked at the clock and you were at 0. And I was like, well, his UI clearly distracted me long enough that I forgot that you were being timed. So, all right, I'll applaud that.
Well, I think from the novelty standpoint, if you think about, there's been so many companies that have tried to match local services and consumers way back, with City Search. First the Yellow Pages, then the City Search, and then the City Search was just the listings, and then you had Yelp, and Yelp was all about reviews. And what I think is novel about what you're trying to do is you're trying to really get to the end of the transaction. So you're really trying to, for instance, with the example you showed, where you actually can you can actually book your service with a service provider.
Piano teacher, purchaser over here, a little bias.
Yeah,
Well,
I think,
it did work.
I think though, and I think what's going to be key though is the UI did look a little, there's a lot going on in that UI, so you're going to need folks to invest in the service and spend time with it, and they're going to have to feel there's value in doing that. So I believe that there's going to need to be a real sense of that I'm going to get something for setting this profile
Well,
up.
and he won the popular vote, and I think
Right.
that actually says something else, because I don't necessarily think you had the best pitch, no offense, but I think it actually reflects demand.
Right.
Like a lot of people feel like, shit, I could. Oh.
Let's
Oh,
move.
cool, the first person
Okay,
of the night.
let's move to competition. So I think there's a reason why Merchant Circle and why Yelp scrape sites or Merchant Circle seed sites, and that's because it's really, really hard to get a critical mass of service providers, and I believe you have about 2,500 right now. And I think that you're just going to try to grow that organically. So I think one of the challenges is how do you get a big, huge critical mass of local service providers?
Chicken and egg.
Yeah, and do you do it geographically? Do you do the sort of Craigslist approach and pick the Bay Area and then sort of work your way out? Pick a category in the Bay Area, because if you're trying to boil the ocean, it takes a lot of heat. And so I think that the macro is great. I think we're going to be an increasingly transient service-based workforce, but I believe that there are going to need to be, if you're going to enter this thing effectively, you got to figure out a pretty specific problem to solve.
Yeah, I gotta admit though, all those services really suck. I'll tell you, so there's payments going to be another big issue for you, because I think, you didn't really touch on it. I saw some interesting things. There was some sort of like travel fee, I noticed, that it was like $30 an hour, and then you added a $5 travel fee. Like, do you collect the money? Do you pay the provider? Who pays who? One of the most interesting things I've seen in recent memory is a service provider would give you a coupon to the buyer, and when the buyer was satisfied with the service, they would hand the coupon to the provider, who would redeem it at the site. And that puts you in the transaction loop and helps you with the customer satisfaction issue, which is also going to be an issue. But I just see the payment processing could be very tricky in this area as well. It's not going to be straightforward.
But I do believe what's nice is in the middle of a lot of other transactions, and he knows his customers, and there's a lot of data. And so the reality is, following the Mint example, which, by the way, green shirt was not lost on me. Oh, excellent.
How about
I
in
think
private?
that,
No.
if you can put yourself in the middle and look at all the menu of services, and the piano teacher has 40 things, and the piano consumer has 40 things they care about, and that they will pay the CPAs on. And so I think the reality is, if you can really get that flow going, you can monetize in a zillion different ways, which are very creative.
Oh, that's good. Good segue into making money. How should they make money? I believe you make money from B2B services and from also taking a cut in transactions. You can't speak right now, but I think that's correct. So.
Don't answer. Actually, I thought you brought up a great idea. I don't know if you said it explicitly, but like,
I did.
Oh. You implied a great idea, but you didn't say it out loud. No, the idea of like marketing too. Like these SMBs, they don't want to buy ads on Google. They don't want to be tracking relevancy. So if you could get in this, like, okay, you give me $5, I'll deliver you a piano lead. Period. That's it. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts, and then you can figure out all the funny logic on the back
But
end.
you gotta own the keyword piano teacher, Palo Alto. And so the trick is, because that's the shelf space. I mean, Google's the shelf space, so you gotta own that spot, because that's where people start the process of finding that piano teacher. I think it's gonna be, if you don't own that spot, then you're gonna have to figure out another really creative way to drive a lot of volume, because that's gonna be most likely the eye-level shelf space where people are going to be picking that product off the shelf. And they pick yours. And then all of a sudden, like, whoa, way better mousetrap. I know a lot of lead gen companies that on the front look like every other lead gen company, but on the back have way cooler tech. The problem is they never get people in the front.
Okay, we have 30 seconds. Advice.
Well, you just solve the chicken and egg in a way that you can say when you're on stage that people are like, I get it, that's sweet.
I think they need to focus on for the Yelp model. They focused on a specific region. They focused on restaurants. So focus on service providers, all the piano teachers. Maybe broader than that.
Yeah, I would say combine the two transactions. Figure out where you fit in the flow. I think there's consumption volume and proximity to transactions. And I think that if you can find your spot between the two and really figure out a way to get the consumption volume but also get those transactions rolling, I think it's a great service. I think the UI was awesome, so I think you clearly have an understanding of how to build a good product. And so, to some degree, this is a field of dreams business, so I think they will find you if it's awesome.
You get a minute. Oh, you get your, okay, you get 90 seconds, sure, you get.
You got a minute.
So
You have a minute.
the biggest problem is the chicken and the egg. So we have done a similar approach to Yelp and all these guys. We have 500,000 local service providers ready to push through our pathway. We haven't put them up because we don't want to do it until the product is ready, because we don't want them to go stale. Red Beacon solves it by having wizards. We have those too, and it's live right now, unlike theirs. You can go online, post a wanted ad, and in 24 hours, we'll get you 3 leads for whatever you want. And we're based here in San Francisco at first. We're not going to turn you away if you sign up somewhere else, but this is where we're proving our concept to grow nationwide. You guys didn't like the CRM idea, but the thing that I don't know if I got across well was that to use CRM software and to use appointment management software, you have to import all your clients. These people are adding buyers, the hardest part where everyone has failed, to the Thumbtack network. The AdWords thing is key. That's why the director of Google Local is on our advisory board to help us with that kind of stuff. And ultimately, payments. PayPal is rolling out this new API called Adaptive Payments. They finally let you break up a revenue stream and really allow a marketplace to exist. So we've decided to hold off on that, do it right, and that's really where we believe we'll be able to create a lot of value.
All right.
Even though they were I think number 5 in the popular vote. Number 5 in the popular vote. Actually, when I actually had to cast my vote, you were up there too. But I won't say what number.
You already did.
No, I said top 5.
That was
So
really
congrats, you
good.
survived the Socratic method. Thank you for being a good sport.
You did a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching Juicebox. I'm Bambi Francisco. We'll see you next time on Vader News.